Welcome everyone to the post-game show of the Packers Lions. The Lions win this 34-31. Dan Campbell's stupidity, genius, actually got the job done. Before we get into this though, make sure you guys comment, share, and subscribe to both of our channels. Follow us all on TikTok. Those links are in the description, and support Jason and my PayPal's also in the
They need money
description.
for their mail order brides.
Shut up, Aaron. So with that out of the way, let's talk about this game. Again, Lions got the win. I'm just not a fan of Dan Campbell. I'm just not too aggressive for my liking. That 4th and 1 on their own side of the field was unnecessary. Jared Goff throwing an interception, and that's how the Packers actually got into this game. The turnovers by Jared Goff, because yes, the Packers got that touchdown to open up the third quarter, but the Lions had a habit of when the Packers scored, the Lions responded. So that interception gave Packers the life that they needed, and that's how the Packers got the lead, and that's how it ended up being a back and forth game. And then Dan Campbell had that head scratching decision, which I don't like, and didn't like, and still don't like. And I think he's very overrated as a coach. Like, if he was coaching any other, like, say that he's coaching the Raiders, how do you think that that's going to turn out? It's going to turn out bad, in my opinion. But Aaron and Jason, what do y'all think?
I think that you're right on Dan Campbell, and I think it's aggression with being without intelligence, without strategy. You can be an aggressive coach. Bill Belichick was aggressive, but him and Brady strategized. Okay, what are we gonna do? Calling that on fourth and one on your own side of the field was absolutely bullcrap stupidity. Why would you call it on your own field? Why would you set up such a bad play? And this is where, again, we discuss what happened in the NFC Championship for San Francisco when they had San Francisco on the ropes, and Dan Campbell decided to be cute. And I think him and Kyle Shanahan have this mindset of, I'm going to be real cute. I'm going to try some cool shit. Oh, shit, it's not a video game. Okay. It's real life, and your team there's actual implications for your team. Definitely that one pick by Jared Goff. I don't remember Jordan Love throwing a pick. Shouldn't have been a back and forth game. And I think it all trickles up to the bottom, from up down, because Dan Campbell did what Dan Campbell did. I thought the first half was very mediocre for this game. It was quiet. This second half was full of controversy. That throw where they got the first down because they were going to go for it. The Lions got robbed last year in Dallas. The Lions now have a robbery of their own. Was it a good decision to go for it? I don't know, but they ended up getting a field goal. That ended the game, and they iced it, and they got what they wanted, because we were thinking, okay, if they do this, they do that, the Packers have 20 seconds, let's see what they do. Oh, the Packers have 40 seconds, let's see what they do. They ended up having 0. So Lions win it. They go to 12-1. They have a better record since 1934-35. They're in the playoffs. They're going to win the division, but this is a bit of a head-scratching game. There's a lot of question marks here.
It goes back to the execution as well, because if the Packers had gotten enough defensive penetration on that last 4th and 1, somebody could have gotten through and touched Jared Goff down before he had pitched that ball back to Gibbs on the run to get the first down so they could run down the rest of the clock. Execution needs to be better. And I'll go even further to say that this is not. Yes, it's a win, but it's not a clean win. This is an ugly win if you're Detroit. You need to clean up your game. This is not one of those games that you had. I mean, you have the potential to do what you did to Jacksonville to any team in the league if you're playing the right way. And this wasn't it.
I mean, you're right, and the other thing too is, this is okay, fine. We're in a regular divisional game. It's not the playoffs. Playoffs aren't starting tomorrow or next week. You cannot pull this crap in the playoffs. And you know how I know you can't pull it off? Because when you did last year, you effed up. And you got knocked out by the 49ers, who got knocked over by the Chiefs because they let the Chiefs keep going. They let the Chiefs stay around. And you just cannot pull this cuteness. And the lack of execution, the lack of accuracy, the lack of play design, good play design. Yeah, this is a problem, and it is a dirty win. It's not a good win. It's not a clean win. At least it gives the Lions a guys. We've been, if let's say NFC Championship, it's the Lions and whoever else, and they're sitting there like Lions Eagles, let's say, and the Eagles get ahead. They've been in a game where they've given up the lead and they know how to get it back. But playoffs is a whole different animal and a bit of different rules. So
on the Packers side, and there's something also on the Packers side that I want to talk about, and that's the coaching decision on that side. Like, how do you use 2 timeouts, one on a challenge that was a stupid challenge too, in that early in the first quarter, or not early in the first quarter, but I think it was the first quarter. So like, you leave 1 timeout left at the end of the first half, really, and then you use a timeout stupidly in the third quarter. Like that, I feel like it. Again, I don't know, just because the Lions did what they did, but an extra timeout helped out. I guarantee you that if they saw the way that the Lions were lining up, call their final timeout, and then boom, maybe the Lions rethink, maybe we should just go for the field goal. But no, they didn't have an extra timeout to spare, leading up to that fourth down play that got them the first down and basically iced the game.
Yeah, and they exactly, they made a stupid timeout, called a stupid timeout in the first half. They used up their timeouts in the second when they could have caused some problems for the Lions. The Lions still would have most likely probably won it all, but won the game, but at least make it more difficult for them. And this reminds me of it reminds me of the John Harbaugh. Remember against Washington when John Harbaugh calls a stupid timeout, he loses the challenge, and then he's drive with timeouts. He's out. You remember that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Just stupid challenges, bad timeouts,
and not useful clock management.
And here's another thing: the Packers got to stop with these divisional games, and it's not just this game. They did it with the Vikings. They got to stop with the slow starts. They were down early to Minnesota. They were down a lot against Minnesota the first time around.
Yeah,
like they were down I think 29-7, and they somehow came back and won that game. They were down again in this game, and they lost. Like they really, against these good teams, and they did it also when the game that we streamed with the Eagles. They were up, but then they fell behind again, and then they had to fight back. With these good teams, you got to play from ahead, not from behind.
Well, and use the weapons you have too, Josh Jacobs should have had so many more rushing yards than he did. It just seems like, it's working. Let's stop doing it.
Let's keep passing the ball when we should just run it with Josh Jacobs, one of the best running backs in the fucking league.
And you can do play action passes off of that, and it'll allow you to keep Jordan Love upright.
Yep. And then Jordan Love just needs to work on his accuracy as well, because he was just off.
Yeah.
Trash. Absolute trash. Garbage.
And it wasn't Jordan Love scoring these touchdowns. It wasn't because of him. We can't walk away from this game going, my God, Jordan Love,
No, two touchdowns were Josh Jacobs running it in, so.
Yeah. And so it's I don't see the Packers making it.
I mean, they're making the playoffs regardless. I don't think that they'll make it past the wild card.
They'll be in the playoffs.
If they face a team like Philly, which I think they're in, they'll either take on Philly, whoever the 3 seed is. I don't know who the 3 seed is off the top of my head, but
it's gonna be whoever wins the NFC West.
Okay, maybe they beat the Cardinals.
Again, it's not going to be the Cowboys. They're not going to have a walk in the park like they did last offseason.
Yeah. Maybe they beat the Cardinals, or maybe if it's the Cardinals or Rams, maybe I favor them in that game. But if they do, for some odd reason, or somehow end up facing the Eagles, good luck.
My thing will be is this: The Packers have done well enough to make it to the playoffs, but I do believe they will go out in the wild card round, and I do believe that the NFC North will fall ass backwards into 3 teams being in the playoffs. And I think Washington has to stop their own bleeding, which, I mean, they technically did that with Tennessee, but that's Tennessee.
If you can't beat a terrible team like the Dallas Cowboys, who doesn't use their weapons correctly, has a backup quarterback, and who didn't go out and get any more weapons and didn't, build their secondary and didn't build their team up for better, didn't go all in, and half their team is injured, then they're frauds. And Washington has got a lot more to fix than just the secondary.
Yeah.
You need a kicker just like Baltimore does.
Yeah. The kicker that they have that they had in that game, he's on injured reserve. Anyway, any more thoughts on this game?
I feel like, again, as I said, 3 NFC North teams make it. Both Minnesota and Green Bay get stomped in the wild card.
I think Minnesota could make it better than Green Bay.
I do. Yes, I do think because they'll face the NFC South. And do you take the Vikings over Tampa or over Atlanta? I don't think so.
Okay, maybe Tampa, but not Atlanta. Like Kirk Cousins, remember, primetime Kirk Cousins and playoff Kirk Cousins ain't great. There's no sample out of the sample size with Kirk Cousins. There is no game in that sample size that goes, wow, I really trust Kirk Cousins in the playoffs.
That's kind of true, actually.
Now, they do have Sam Darnold in Minnesota, but...
Yeah.
That's true. Anyway. Alright, so that'll do it for this post game. If there aren't any thoughts, we're out of here.
Yep.
Adios, Margarito.